an answer as she goes. So we are so excited. Tonight we've got Brooke Orchard here. Yay. Okay, quick story about Brooke. So I met Brooke. So she's here locally in Arizona, and we had her speak at an event, and then I found out she was tied to Christina Sullen's team, and I was like, get out. Like, I work so closely with them. So Brooke has been crushing the business while literally breastfeeding her kiddos. She has two little guys, and I was like, oh, I would love for you to talk about how you're doing what you're doing around your mom life, because she's doing it all for them. She is a 11-star diamond coach. I wrote 12-star because she did qualify. And you are, let's see, you're 2-time elite, right? Did I get that right? Or is it 1 time? 1-time elite. But she's been in the top 50 twice. That's what has me. Like, she's always in the top 50 of the company. Every year she's been in this, and it's just like, what are you doing over there? She's super passionate about recruiting, building a team, helping other people on the team earn and build income. And she has been in Success Club every single month since becoming a coach. And I'm so excited to have you share with everybody tonight, Brooke. So I'm going to let you take it away.
Hey, can you guys hear me okay? Is it too windy?
You're good.
Okay, I'm outside. It's beautiful out. And plus, my 2 kids are in there with my husband screaming. So this is the best place to be. But Lindsay, do you want me to share my story just a little bit?
Yeah, I'd love your story.
Okay, cool. I'll share it just so you guys can know where I came from. But if I seem really tired, scatterbrained right now, it's because I'm exhausted, and my daughter has croup right now. So I think this is perfect to do this call during the craziness of mom life. So I started as a coach back in 2012, actually, and then I was a coach for a hot second and quit. After a few months. I've done Beachbody, the lifestyle, since 2011. And I discovered it after graduating high school, being a gymnast my entire life, and being super lost at the gym for about 5 years. Between 2006 and 2011, I was just super lost. I would go to the gym for a couple of hours, not know what I was doing. I winged a half marathon. I picked up running because what else are you going to do? I didn't know that home workouts existed. And so when I found P90X, I didn't know it was Beachbody, but I knew that I needed to do something. I had just started grad school for speech language pathology to get my master's degree, and I was waitressing full time. So I would go to grad school during the day and then waitress from 4 p.m. to 1 a.m. Go home after drinking a big beer, study for my test at 9 a.m., and then rinse and repeat. For 7 years straight, I did that. And I committed to the program. There weren't challenge groups back then. I didn't even know coaching existed. So I dove in, and I was a perfectionist. So I did it perfectly, and I felt on top of the world after completing that. I posted my before and after pictures on Facebook, not even knowing what to do with these women, but I was like, I need other women I need to like inspire them to take action for something, because I felt so good. And I had people coming to me left and right being like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I didn't know what to do with them. So I just said, this is what I'm doing. And I had this random girl reach out to me and say, you should be a coach. And I thought it was a scam. I didn't know what it was. So I said, no, thanks. And then one of my friends messaged me within that month and was like, Brooke, I'm a coach. Like, you're basically one already. Why wouldn't you? You're sending people to Beachbody. And so I started, loved it, did really well with it, I thought, for a few months. And then I just let my account fizzle out because I was too busy, quote unquote. And I was busy, but I didn't understand the concept of like working this business in pockets of time. So I just fizzled out, and then became Beachbody's biggest naysayer for a couple of years. I tried a few different other company shakes, thought I could find something cheaper, but just as good quality. Of course, I found cheaper, but I did not find good quality. So yeah, my life had to drastically change in order for coaching to come back into my life in December of 2014. So during those 2 years, I moved to Arizona, away from Minnesota, away from everything that I knew, away from all my friends that I had had for 26 years. and, graduated grad school and gotten $50,000 of student loan debt and started my speech therapy job down here. I loved it. I worked with the elderly in skilled nursing facility settings all around the Phoenix area, helping them recover after strokes, with their swallowing therapy, cognitive therapy. I loved what I did, but I got paid hourly. So if the work was there, I got paid. If the work wasn't there, I didn't get paid. And so that was mentally and physically stressful because I was working 10 to 12-hour days and then some days only 3 hours. And I was like, how can I pay off my debt, be a mom someday? Like, how in the world am I going to make this happen? So I started to think in the future a lot. I got married. So life was great, but I thought there has to be more than this. I felt a void in my life, and I just thought ahead in the future. And finally, like, all those things had to happen in order for me to be like, maybe Beachbody coaching should be good for me. Like, an outlet to make friends and have a positive community. I was inconsistent with my health and fitness because of my job, putting myself on the back burner, and I wanted to pay off my debt. And it was just all these things that led me back to coaching. And I had all these inner demons in my mind telling me, why in the world would you start coaching? You're crazy. Who would join you? You went from Beachbody's biggest naysayer and quitting for 2 years. Like, why would anyone trust you? And so that was like my biggest fear. Posting on social media, I mainly posted about my cats. And so I was like, I don't know how to do this. And then I had less time at the moment that I wanted to coach again than I did before when I had tried it the first time. But I just said, F it, I'm cannonballing into this because I knew that mindset had to be there in order for me to do well with this. Nothing goes well. I mean, think about our marriage. Like, my marriage doesn't go well if I'm like half in, half out, right? So I thought of this opportunity as the same way. So I dove in 1 year and 8 months after, enter income disclaimer, but I paid off my $50,000 of student loan debt after 1 year and 8 months. That was 8 years earlier than originally planned. I just kind of had settled for, I'll pay off my debt in 10 years. No, like, why not start this side hustle income? So that's what I did. I used it as my debt detonator. And 2 to 2.5 years into the business, I started to make 6 figures with the opportunity. And it was at that time that I was a new mom as well. And this will kind of segue into mom life. But it was at that point that I was like, do I keep going to speech therapy? I dreaded going there at that point. I was so obsessed with my business. I hated going to work. And then I hated leaving my infant son. I didn't want to start daycare at that time. I wanted to spend my first year of life with my kids. I didn't know how many I wanted to have, but I knew I wanted to spend their first year of life with them. So I decided to go all in with Beachbody again and make it my full-time thing. So it's been exactly 2 years since I made that happen. So I've been a full-time coach for 2 years now. And I've really failed forward throughout this entire process. I mean, I could make a whole other team call about that, but I want to talk about, how I find balance. There's no such thing as balance in my eyes, but how I find balance being a mom, how I built this business to 6 figures and beyond while breastfeeding, and a little bit about my recruiting tips too, because I know Lindsay wanted me to talk about that, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. I wrote down some notes. So I have my notes here. Otherwise, I'm a space cadet. I get scatterbrained easily. You guys can totally put questions and stuff in the chat thread. I probably won't check till later. Otherwise, I'll get completely distracted. I swear I have like undiagnosed ADHD, anxiety. I've never been diagnosed, but I swear I have it. Okay. So like I said, I don't really believe in balance. I just believe in like showing up every single day, no matter what, rain or shine, imperfectly, but consistently. Like, that is my motto. That's always been my motto. I tell my girls, no matter what life phase they're in, like, that is it. That is this business in a nutshell. It's just consistency over time. That's just really what it is. So I just always kept that in mind, no matter what I was going through in my life. So I have 2 kids under 3. They're 18 months apart. My son, Easton, is going to be 3 next month. We potty trained this entire past week. And then my daughter is 16 months old. And I'm only having 2 kids. I can't mentally handle anymore. So if you're a mom of like 3+, my God, you're my hero. And I've been married to my husband now for almost 5 years. So he is such a support system. Like, he's a huge reason why I can do this. So if you're a single mom as well, like, kudos to you. And I just want to start off by saying, like, you have to forgive yourself and cut yourself some slack, and realize that when you lay your head down at night on your pillow, you have done the best that you could have done for that day. I love Melanie Mitro's term, I couldn't have given a fingernail more. And I always thought of that every single day in my business when I felt like I couldn't give much that day. And honestly, especially last year, I felt like my business was two steps forward, or like 1 step forward, 2 steps back. But ironically, you know, I hit elite last year. And I went from being stuck at 4-star diamond all of last year of 2018 to popping 8-star, 9-star, 10-star, 11-star from October to now. So you tell me, right? Like, the year that I felt like I was failing the most was the year that my momentum built up and my business exploded. And it was because of what it is that I'm going to tell you about. So, but yeah, you have to forgive yourself. You have to cut yourself some slack. You have to just like embrace all the feels. I cried so much last year. I exclusively breastfed my daughter all of last year. So for about 10 months straight, purely from my boob, like every couple of hours. I built my business from my phone with my thumb last year. So it's just insane to me. Like, that's why I'm very much like a tough love, no excuses, no BS kind of person. I'm like, if I can do this, you can do this too. And I struggled a lot with postpartum anxiety, postpartum depression last year as well. So I like literally was in survival mode. So I just know that if I can do this, you guys can do this too, and tell that to your people as well. How many of you are moms, by the way, on here? Probably like everyone. I can't see the other girls, but I'm sure their hands are raised. But so I worked a lot when I was breastfeeding, pockets of time were my jam. I worked in the middle of the night. I was up a lot throughout the night. I did not supplement. I did not do formula. It was straight from my boobs. So she was up a lot throughout the night. You know, I didn't have that baby that like porked up during the day and slept all night. That was not me. So I did most of my like adding to my network, non-messaging type stuff at night because I was straight up delirious. So I did all the easy stuff in the middle of the night, like adding to my network was my biggest thing during those night feedings. And then every week, my husband and I, it's usually on a Sunday, we do what's called a traffic meeting. And that's where we sit down and we pull out our calendars and we say, okay, who's dropping off the kids? Who's picking up the kids? You know, when are your meetings? Here's my team calls. Here's my meetings. Here's, you know, all that. To give you a little background about his job, he owns his own college baseball advising business here in Phoenix. He has a totally different schedule every single day, every single week, and it can change like that. So it's very, very difficult. He has a very flexible schedule, but like, you know, he's in sales. He has a commission job. So if he has a chance to make money tonight or tomorrow, he's gonna jump on it. So it has made me struggle with my business a little bit because, you know, I need to respect that as well. So just know that, you know, I don't have a consistent thing over here, which has made it difficult, but not impossible. But we have a traffic meeting every single week where we're planning the week of, and then even like, if we feel like things are shifting throughout the week, we'll be like, hey, let's regroup. I've had a lot of people, you know, want to do calls with me at night, you know, what can work. My busiest time is at night from like 5 p.m. to 7:45. I handle the night stuff. Normally Mike is gone. I'm doing bath time. I'm doing dinner time. I'm doing bedtime. So I handle all that stuff at night. I'm sitting here thinking like, how in the world did I explode this business last year? My God. I'll never forget reading Get Over Your Damn Self by Romy Newstad. Has anyone read that book? Yeah. when did I read this? It was like summer of 2017. And here I was like, I want to build $1 million business. I want to be in the millionaire club. And I'll never forget reading the chapter where she said, if you want to build $1 million business and you expect that you're going to do that over your kids' nap time, like you're crazy, basically. And that's what I had been doing. And yes, you can build this business in a nap time hustle and whatever, but not to the point that I wanted to build it to. And so I started daycare. And it was right when my son hit 12 months of age. And I put him in daycare for like part-time, but eventually I did more of like a full-time thing, not quite, but more flexible, because I found that on the off days, I wasn't really working the business as much, and I was playing catch up on the days that he was going to daycare. So I was like, crap. So I started him going like every day, but picking him up whenever I wanted. So it was pretty flexible. So I just found something that was flexible when it came to daycare. And I had to remove that guilt, that huge mom guilt of putting my kid in daycare when I had on my vision board the first couple of years of my business to become a work from home mom and to not have to do daycare so that I could be a stay-at-home mom and spend more time with my kids. Well, when that happened, turns out that my mental health is everything to me, and I needed sanity. And kudos to moms who can be a stay-at-home mom, but for anyone who doesn't feel like that's their calling, who needs something more, like remove that guilt. I give you permission, because I had to remove that guilt of wanting to build a business and being a mom at the same time. You can do both. But I had to like put them in daycare just for me growing this business and having some sanity. So I started daycare. I asked for help a lot. I over communicated with Mike, my husband, and his support. Like if he wasn't supportive, man, this would be really tough. But I found that when I don't over communicate with him about our schedules or about me being in a push season right now, and communicating my vision of what I want to accomplish in the next month, 3 months, 1 year, it gets crazy. And I find that he gets pissed at me a lot because I'm not communicating what it is that I'm trying to accomplish. And so he's sitting back being like, what are you doing? Like, you can't keep up with this. He doesn't understand that this is like a push season, but I need to communicate that to him and to remind him like, hey, this isn't a forever thing. This is just, a push season right now. And so he's like, okay, like tell me what you need from me. I'll do it. He's a lot more open when I'm overly communicative on my goals and my vision and our schedules and stuff. So yeah, asking for help, over communicate. I tried to set business hours, like pockets of time of when I'm going to work my business. And I'm not a good planner. I'm not very organized, but I did find that when I planned the night before for the next day, that was doable for me. The week before, like, didn't really work well for me, so I always tried the night before. I don't know if you guys do the GEM personality test, but I'm very much a ruby and secondary sapphire. Emerald, I'm not an emerald at all. And emeralds are very organized. I wish I was that way. I'm trying to be better at that, but forgive yourself if you're not organized, and if you're not a good planner, you can still have success with this business. You just have to try a little bit harder, and it's going to be a lot of failing forward moments. Be flexible and bend and not break. So this is very similar to when I started this business, working 1 to 2 hours a day, along with my speech therapy job. I was very much like, okay, I need to be consistent. If I couldn't do my 1 to 2 hours that day and I could only do like 30 minutes, well, then I made up for it over the weekend or the next day. But I just knew that consistency was key. So I just always kept that concept in mind, to be flexible, not so rigid, because when I get rigid, I break down and I shut down. I want to hide underneath a rock. And so I found that I have to be flexible. And I just have to. Otherwise, I'll quit. Not quit, but just take my foot off the gas, get pissed, get overly stressed, overly anxious, more than I need to. So I just realized, get your stuff done, what matters the most today, and that's all you can do. So all of last year, what honestly kept my business moving forward, and no, this is not a sustainable model, but it's what kept me going in my business last year, is I focused on the income producing activities. And that was personal development inviting like a mofo, showing up on social media every day, one bomb post, and showing up on my Instagram stories, like very omnipresent, and doing a lot of call to actions, and being a real person and showing my crazy life. That is honestly what kept me going. Adding to my network, building relationships were probably the two things that went by the wayside. I didn't completely take my foot off the gas with those things because those are important, but that's not what ultimately like kept me going. It was those things that I just mentioned. Like that is what I focus on. If I could get my invites done, I was happy. If I could do my personal development, I was happy. And that leads me to my next point, to capitalize on every opportunity that you have and multitask where you can. So I bought a little shower cell phone holder, a little suction cup holder to put in my shower so that I could put my phone in there and listen to a podcast while I was showering, like a less than 10-minute shower because mom life. But and I turned the podcast speed up to 1.5. So I could get through a full podcast episode, you know, a 20 to 30-minute podcast episode in a little over 10 minutes. So my shower time was very efficient. And same thing when I would take them for walks every morning, you know, in my double stroller with my dog, I would listen to the National Wake Up Call recording. And I don't really listen to things in real time with the National Wake Up Call recording. For the National Wake Up Call live, I listen to the recordings and I speed up the time. I do it when I'm doing other things like going for walks or getting ready for my day, putting on makeup, which never really happens anymore either. This is a rare sighting. So normally if you see me in my Instagram stories, you're like, wow, she's a hot mess. And I really feel like that's why people join me, because they're like, she's a real person and I can be a real person. And I try to do myself up to show like, hey, I do care about myself. But that's a huge reason why people join me, is because I'm a real, raw, honest, transparent human. Okay, what else? Voice text. I love to voice message people in Facebook Messenger, in text message if they have an iPhone. Oh my gosh, that is what got me through, because I only had my thumb basically. So, and that's what really had people join me too, is because they could feel my heart and my passion and my enthusiasm and my energy. And it was just so tedious for me to type everything out all the time. And copy and paste was my best friend, my conversation guide that I used with basically everybody. And copy and paste, text replacement. If you don't use text replacement, totally use that. I know they have that in Instagram Messenger as well as on iPhone. I don't know about Android, but that saved me. And I tried to win my mornings. I did not win a lot of mornings last year. You know, the miracle morning, waking up at 5 in the morning was just, it was not really possible for me physically because I was up all night breastfeeding. So I just thank God for being a full-time coach. That really helped. But I try to win my mornings. If I don't win my mornings, I find that it does set the tone for the rest of the day, good or bad. So yeah, if people aren't winning their mornings and they're a mom, I find that they don't do as well with this business. A lot of our main work is done in the mornings. Our vital behaviors are done in the mornings. And showing up every day. I'm a huge, I preach to my team all the time, like, no matter what, you need to show up every day. No dot matter dot what dot. Every single day. And that book, The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson, saved my life. That was one of my first personal development books that I read back when I was a brand new baby coach. And it was that concept that I always kept in mind on the days last year and the past 3 years as a mom, when I was crying my eyes out, feeling like a failure in my business and as a mom, and just feeling like I wasn't finding that balance. Like that is what kept me going and kept me in check. So read that book if you haven't, and refer back to the highlighted parts whenever you're struggling. Okay, so any questions about that, you can post below. I'm going to go into recruiting a little bit.
Can you tell them what, so I know what this means, but I don't know that I've ever talked to them about what a push season is. And I was actually talking to Hal about this earlier today, because you go through seasons where you are just full on, and then you have seasons where you're still consistent. But anyways, just explain so because that's like when you're pushing for your goal, like your 2-star or your diamond, like you are like push season. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. See, I was in push season like all the time when I was first starting as a coach, because I didn't realize that there were push seasons, you know, so I was just going 100 miles per hour all the time, which was great. Got me to where I could, you know, retire from my speech therapy job. But I realized that I was getting burned out really fast. And so I needed to have a more sustainable model that I could do and that I could teach my coaches. So a push season is, give you an example. My push season was from January to basically like 30 days ago. I usually try to do like 3 months of developing my girls. So like digging my fingers deep into my organization, working with working with my business builders, and helping my girls, my personally sponsored coaches, have their personally sponsored coaches be popping, and so on and so on. So I was doing like 30 mentorship calls a week, like 5, 6 a day. And I was exhausted. Like I could not fathom doing another call. I was like, there's no way I could keep this up forever. And then like this past month, I kind of relaxed. I rested. I reflected a lot because I failed forward a lot from January to April. Hardcore. I did a lot of things right, but did a lot of things where I'm like, could have done better. So I dove into trainings this past month. And I was like, okay, felt really good about that. Need to change this, need to add this. Okay, now I'm going again. So as of this last week, I'm in push season again, which is crazy. Body training, not a good idea. So now I'm starting this week. Like I had 5 mentorship calls today, and I'm going at it again. So my Success Club points are a little bit lower than they used to be. I used to be like 50, 40, 30. My first like 3.5 years of the business. Now they're like Success Club 10, and, you know, recruiting minimally, but developing my people a lot, developing leaders. So I'm in like a development push season where most people in the beginning of their businesses are in like building season, recruiting season. Does that make sense, Lindsay? Is there anything else you want to add to that?
I think I would just add that I feel like in general, push seasons are like 90 days of like real, like, and yes, for those of you who are new, who aren't at diamond yet, who maybe are pushing the 2-star, like you are in recruit mode, like recruit. You gotta bring in people to find like, and I think it's important, like Brooke will probably talk, maybe, I don't know if this is on your agenda, but if y'all have read the Build the Last book, I know she loves that book. At the end of the day, like for those of you who are building like really big businesses who really want to make this something huge, you need 5 people to, you want 5 people who want to build this full time as well. And that will literally build you a huge, huge business. So when we talk about like Success Club 30 and 40, like, yes, you're going through a period of time where you're sorting, you're looking for the people who really want to run with you. Some just want a discount, some just want a hobby. So that's like your push season of 90 days or so. And you need to show up every day and being consistent. However, being in a push is different than, you can't be in a push for 365 a year. You'll lose your mind. Like we are straight up telling you, you will lose your mind. However, you do need to have some seasons. Like I do know a lot of people are pushing right now because we're going into Summit. Like a lot of people are qualifying and they want to get to Summit and celebrate and like have new, you know, ranks and new coaches there and all that stuff. So I just want to add that little note about push season.
Yes. I did not realize that was even a concept or a thing back then. So I did lose my mind. Maybe that's why my memory is so bad and my focus is, my brain's gone because I fried it. So yes, implement that, you know, make sure you rest and reflect and then push again. So, and I think that's really important, Lindsay. I love that you touched on that, like finding 5 people. That sounds so easy. It's simple. It's a simple concept, but it takes a lot of work to get there. And like you said, you have to sort and sift through people. Like just because you are recruiting people doesn't mean like they're all business builders. Like some are discounts, some are hobbies, some are business, some are first business and then they quit and fizzle out. And so in my mind, I was always like, this is a numbers game. I have to invite 2,500 people if I want to find my 30 people who are going to like build this business. And within those 30 people, only 5 people are actually going to like really go. And that's just how I always thought. And maybe the numbers are a little bit different than that, but based off of my own personal experience, that's pretty accurate. So it's a lot of inviting. It's a lot of hearing no's. It's a numbers game. And so I think it's perfect that we're talking about recruiting, because yeah, you have to find those people and sort through a huge group of people to find those builders in order for you to have people to develop. So yeah, if you're in the beginning building phase of your business, you're recruiting a lot of people. And recruiting is my jam. I love recruiting. I'm not hardcore recruiting right now anymore at this moment. I'm not in that season of my business, but I was like, as of months ago before that, I was recruiting like a mofo. So, I want to talk about the foundation though, before we even like talk about the how-tos, because that's it right there. Like this is 95% mindset. Yes, it's all action too, but if your mind's not right, if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't have confidence, if you don't tell yourself you're a 15-star diamond or a 10-star diamond or 5-star diamond, whatever it is you want to achieve, like why would anyone join you? I just always thought like that. You know, I have to see myself as a leader. I have to see myself as someone worthy of other people joining me. If I want people to join me, I have to reek of that. So I always knew that passion and energy and enthusiasm and just all those things was going to be so contagious. How could people not want to join me? I learned that from day one. And so I've never really had an issue with people not joining me, because I learned that very on, that was everything, that was going to make me stand out, and that I had to believe that I could do this. And looking back, man, I have changed so much. Who you see right now, that's not who I was before. I looked dead in video. I had no enthusiasm, but I thought I did. And I did the best that I could, you know, but I grew over time through practice and personal development. So you have to develop. You're going to develop into this person, but you have to make the decision that you are that person, that you do have a team of badass women who want to build a team, even if you don't have one person yet. I'll never forget Bonnie Engel saying that. She's like, if you want to be a 15-star diamond, 10-star diamond, 5-star diamond, you better tell yourself, I am a 5-star diamond. You have to speak to yourself with that positive self-talk if you want to attract. Because what energy you put out there is what people feel, and you are either attracting people or bringing them in. Oh, that is it right there. If I can say nothing else. So, and this is another thing that I did not do my first year and a half of the business, and I was not picky with who I brought into this. So my business fell apart essentially 1.5 years into the business because I was inviting people who were not positive, who were not ambitious, and who just weren't people who wanted to change their lives. They were fine just doing nothing and settling, and I found that people quit easily, and I wasn't like building these awesome friendships that I saw other coaches creating. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And then I heard this training from Christine Dwyer. I'll never forget this training. I think it was in her podcast. And she said, do you see yourself as a 10 out of 10? Do you have so much confidence in yourself? Because if you don't, why would a non-confident person invite a confident, ambitious person to this opportunity? Makes sense to me, right? So here I was inviting 7s and 6s to this opportunity, because that's kind of what I saw myself as, was a 7 or an 8. So why would I invite a 10 to this? 10s intimidated me. So I never invited confident looking people, ambitious looking people, positive looking people, because that was scary. So I just avoided it. So I invited people that I felt comfortable with, you know, like I was like better than them. Like you know what I'm talking about. And my business fell apart, because what do we typically do? We invite people that are lower, like a lower number than us with our confidence. So 7s and 8s will invite 6s and 5s. What do 6s and 5s do? They invite 5s and 4s, and so on and so on. And all of a sudden you have this foundation that is built on sticks and not bricks. And that's exactly what mine was built upon the first year and a half of my business. And so I wish I would have believed in myself a little bit more, saw myself as someone who was worthy of having a positive, ambitious, confident team. So you have to see yourself as a 10 out of 10 in order to invite 10s who are going to blow this business up. Because everyone wants to join a confident person. No one wants to join a person who doesn't put the confidence vibe out there. I don't care if you don't feel it or fully believe it yet. You have to put that into existence, because that's how you start becoming it, is when you start speaking that out into the universe. And I used to think that that stuff was crazy and that it was like woo-woo, whatever. It is so everything. Energy, I believe in law of attraction. It is everything. So mindset is key. So screen people's profiles and their pictures. I used to just go add to make that work. Now I'm so picky. I go into their profile, I look at their pictures. If they have a cat as a profile picture, I'm not adding them. If they're not smiling in their profile picture, I'm not adding them. I don't want to save the world. I've been there, done that. I used to want to save everybody. I can't. It drains me. I want to be surrounded by go-getters and people with high energy. So look for someone who is ambitious looking, positive. Maybe they look like your future bestie, people who have something in common with you. It just makes everything that much more fun. You have more things to talk about. People are going to look at your post and be like, oh my God, I feel like she's talking to me. I feel like we're best friends. I want to join her. And that's why people join me too, is because I'm more than just Beachbody. I let people get to know me outside of Beachbody. So I always have passions, interests, and hobbies that I'm speaking about. This is totally random, but I love to talk about like organic tampons and random things like that I can add value to women's lives through. And that honestly is a huge reason why people join me, is because I'm building trust with people and value outside of health and fitness, outside of anything. Like it's just something I love to talk about, and people see that I'm a real person and they love following me because I talk about real everyday stuff. And a lot of people organically come to me and say like, oh my God, you were so right. Like you changed my life with these organic tampons. And it just opens the doors for me to feel comfortable, like inviting them to this opportunity. It just has a ripple effect into everything. So share your passions, share your hobbies, your interests. Remember the 3 E's. How can I educate, empower, and entertain women today outside of health and fitness, inside health and fitness? And that's going to be a great recruiting tactic as well, even though it's more indirect. Okay. Oh, let me talk about going back to seeing yourself as a 10 out of 10. Last month, one of my coaches had a girl that quit, and I wasn't surprised that she quit, but my coach was surprised that she quit, and she was really upset by it. And I was like, really? Like, you didn't see that coming? Like, you thought that she was actually going to build this business? I don't know. I was like so confused by her reaction. And I was like, whoa. We gotta nip this in the bud. And so I asked her, I'm like, on a scale from 1 to 10, what did you see her as? And she told me an 8. And I asked my husband and I showed him her profile. And I said, from a business standpoint, what would you rate her? He said a 3. I didn't tell him my number. I said a 4. And I told her that, and she goes, oh my God, we need to talk. So we got on a mentorship call, and I explained that concept with her. But ever since then, she's been adding and inviting and talking to like more quality people who are confident and who are positive, and so that was a huge eye-opener for me, and it's a huge eye-opener for your coaches. So I've really helped my coaches understand what to look for and what to maybe avoid. I just had to tell that story because that was pretty eye-opening. Reverse engineering, in order to get people on your team, you have to know what kind of action you need to put forth to even get these people. So I broke down the math with my girls, and I'm not a math person, but I'm a firm believer that how can you reach your goals if you don't know what you're even supposed to do every day? So I calculated it out, and I was like, guys, if you're only doing 10 invites a day, you're going to hit Success Club 4. And if you're inviting like 5 times, let's say you're inviting 5 days a week, 10 people a day, over 30 days, that's Success Club 4. So that's bare minimum. Like I tell my people, like 25 invites should be like minimum. And making sure your posts are awesome, but like your invites, you need to be inviting. It's a numbers game. So at the end of every week, I always ask myself, Brooke, did you send out 10 coach applications this week? You know, did 10 people get to the point where they are interested in the business opportunity, they filled out the coach application, and you're about to get on the phone with them or get them signed up, whatever. And if it wasn't at 10, then I told myself, okay, you didn't do your job. You need to fix something for next week, up your numbers, do more call to actions, whatever. So I'm always auditing myself. I'm very aware of what's going on in my business, what I need to do more of, less of. That's so important. Every successful person is good at reflecting on what went well, what didn't go well. My second page of notes, hold on. Okay, so how to get coaches. This is what I do. I make sure I'm adding valuable content, like I said, inside and outside of Beachbody. I have a link in my bio, and I recently changed it where I have like my challenge group application and my coach application in there. So it's like a twin one, and they can choose which route they want to go. And I got that idea from Christina Solons. I was like, wow, that's genius. How have I not thought of that before? So I loved her application. I applied that to mine. I can't take credit for that one. That was all her. But I loved it because someone's filling out the application to join a challenge group, which I mainly invite about 80% to coaching. And I talk about coaching 80% of the time in my posts. Maybe someone who wants to join a challenge group, initially they think that maybe they'll see the join my team part and make an income at the same time part. And they might be interested then. And they see the way the questions are worded. So I have some people kind of change their minds and be like, wait a minute, I kind of want to do both now. So I love that application. It just plants that seed of what's possible. And I have my story in there. I'm thinking about putting like maybe a short few minute video to really let people feel my heart. But I let people feel me in there. You know, I have some pictures of me and my family, things about me outside of health and fitness so that they can be like, oh, we have this in common, that in common. So just realizing that the reason why people join you is not because of products, it's because of you. It's because of you being different. Like Haley Christian, the reason why people join her is because she's awkward and shy and introverted and hilarious. You know, like she's so special in that way. That's why she's successful, is because of her personality. She's hilarious. Like watch her stories and you'll be like, okay, I get it. What makes you stand out? I refer people to that link in my bio whenever I do call to action posts, or even like vague call to action posts. If I'm not like join my team, I'm always trying to like refer people to that. Or I recently got the swipe up feature in my Instagram stories. I reached 10,000 followers, so I can like have people easily just swipe up and fill out that application. So that's something to shoot for. I do 2 to 3 call to actions every single week. And I mainly talk about income. I breadcrumb and sprinkle about the positive community, about, you know, staying accountable, working on your health and fitness, but I love to talk about income and making that meaningful for my life and my vision and what I've accomplished with this opportunity. But my goal is to just let people see that if I can do this, they can do this too. And what goals do they have? What self-limiting beliefs can they overcome to join this opportunity and make an income with it? You know, I'm kind of priming my people so that by the time they join my team, they know what to expect. They know it takes work. They see what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. They know what it takes to be a coach, essentially. So there's no surprises when people join. And I've had a lot less people quit too, because before I was afraid of showing the hard work. And so when people signed up, they were like, what is this? I didn't sign up for this. I thought this was all fun and glitz and glam. So I talk a lot about income because that's where you're going to find your business builders. It's important to talk about positive community and community and all that. You're going to attract more hobby coaches that way, which is good too. Those are great volume drivers. You don't want to neglect those people either. But I want to find people primarily who want to pay off a lot of their debt, to be able to quit their full-time job or be able to go part-time and spend more time with their kids or travel more. Just letting people dream big and to let them see that they don't have to settle. That's my thing. So I love speaking that out there primarily. Instagram stories, I'm very omnipresent on there. Not so much right now, but before, yeah, I'm a broken record. Melanie Mitro is a broken record. Look at her. Look at how successful she is, because she is just a broken record. She's an omnipresent person. You can't care what people think about you. Because I always thought, like, not everyone is on social media all the time. I'm reaching different people all the time. So, and if I do reach one person 5 times, great. They're that much closer to joining me then. And what you post about and talk about is what you're going to get. So if you constantly only talk about positive community, but never about income, and you're never getting business builders, you have to be aware of that and realize, like, oh, you know, that's why I'm getting more hobby coaches, or maybe people who are just wanting the friendships and nothing really more. In my Instagram stories, I talk about the objections about coaching and challenge groups. So I battle those a lot on the front side so that I don't really get them in private message a lot. And then I love to showcase my wins, my girls' wins, big and small financially, with their transformations, and sharing the blessings of coaching. I love talking about coaching. I love talking about the business. And that's what brings me coaches who want to build a business, is because I talk a lot about it. And I do a lot of invites in private message. I know some people are all about attraction marketing and like curiosity marketing and bringing people to their table from their posts alone, but I'm all about doing both. I'm not one of those people that gets a ton of people to my table from posts. Mine's always been mostly invites. So I do private message invites, 80% to coaching, 20% to challenge groups. And my invite is very personalized. People compliment me on it all the time. It reeks of my personality. I can read it to you if you want, or I can send it to Lindsay later, whatever. But I break it down. So I always include their name. I have it be lighthearted and humorous. I have emojis, exclamation marks, a lot of energy, kind of listing out reasons why I'm different. You know, I've been in this business for 4.5 years. I make 6 figures with it. I have 2 kids under 3. So life is crazy over here. You know, what makes me different and why they should join me out of any other coach. And then I at the end, I compliment them, or I ask them a question to get to know them so that they feel like I actually took the time to go to their page, go to their post, and pick out something that I can relate to or that sticks out to me about them that I love. And people tell me from this invite, man, you're the first person that I've responded to. I never respond to these invites. I get them all the time in my inbox, but you're the first person that I've responded to. And so they're open to more information because they didn't feel scripted. Even though it is a script, I change it just a little bit per person so that it is geared towards them. People love to be called by their name. People love to be complimented. So I make sure I do those things. So that's what I do. What else? And it's important to and let them know what you're inviting them to, and to have curiosity marketing. And so I don't use the word challenge group. I don't use the word coaching. I don't use the word team. I basically do all encompassing. So if you have a void with anything physical, mental, or financial, this would be a good fit for you. You know, making them feel like I don't really need them. Like, if it's for you, awesome, let me know. Would you like more info? If not, that's cool too, wink face. You know, I'm just very much like, if you want it, cool. If you don't, that's cool too. And that's what makes people let their walls down a little bit. So I can show you my invite wording if you want. And then everything for me leads to the coach application. So if someone comes to me interested in what I do, or if I invite them and they're interested, I do not vomit about the opportunity or share my story or anything. I'm like, awesome, I'm so excited to get to know you. I might ask them a question or compliment them to get to know them, build that relationship simultaneously. Because I don't like to be all business. That is my natural personality, but I realize that people, when they can let their guards down and you speak to their heart, especially women, they will join you a lot more when you focus on that relationship simultaneously. So I send that application to them and I have them fill it out. And the process from there is pretty seamless. I'm sorting and sifting, and I get people on the phone. If I have a good feeling about that person, they indicate they're serious, they have big goals, they're quick to get back to me, they text me that they filled out the application, I'm going to get them on the phone. And I didn't put that, on here to talk about on this team call because that's a whole other process. But by the time I get them on the phone, I don't really have a hard time getting people signed up. And the process has been much more fun. I have a lot more go-getters lately who are actually working the business and sticking around. So that's what I have. You guys have any questions?
Thank you. I think they may want to know, just off top of my head, when you're sending invites, are you doing like what everybody, like what we did in Arizona, like the whole go to the story watchers, go to the likes, and then go to the followers, or you do it differently?
Yeah, I don't invite anyone who's not following me. I follow anyone who's watching my stories, who's loving up on my posts, who's commenting on my posts, who's following me. So yeah, I kind of pull from different places, but I make sure they're following me so that my invite doesn't go to their spam folder. And I think of it this way: if someone has clicked that blue follow button, they follow me for a reason. Either they love what I'm about, they can relate to me, they know I'm not all personal, like they know I have a business. That's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
So that's my invitation to send an invite. That's my go ahead, my green light.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody, I have another question if y'all don't, but y'all can ask. They all want your invite.
Yeah. Let me pull it up. I was just pulling it up.
I have heard, I recently heard that if you can have the same invite, but if you simply just make a little tiny personal addition to it, it can change the game for these people, because they're like, wow, like you really do like care, like you really mean it, you're actually looking at my stuff, you're not just like sending all these invites.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I can share. I have it pulled up. So I share this all the time. Like, this is the invite wording that I send all the time. Like, this is it. I haven't changed it in a while. I shared it at coach camp. I share it in my Rock the Basics new coach training, but I say, do not use this invite, because that would sound really stupid. Instagram is a big but small world. Facebook is a big but small world. And I tell my girls, like, this is not you. Like, this is my personality. This is probably not everyone else's personality. So I say, hey, blank, hey, name. We don't know each other yet or anything, but I saw you love up on my post, and then I got to creepin'. And I use that lingo, T-A, creepin'. No G, the N, with the laugh face emoji. I'm going to be super blunt because that's who I am and what I appreciate, LOL. I look at your post and feel like we could be soul sisters, LOL, exclamation mark, with more emojis. Not too many, but just enough to like have them feel my warmth. Here's the scoop. I built a 6-figure earning online health and fitness biz. I've been doing it for 4.5 years, and I love mentoring busy women on how to create their own success with it too. After doing this for so long, I'm picky AF, so there's that, with a little shrug face emoji, LOL. If you have a void with anything financial, mental, or physical, this would be for you. Are you open to more info about it? I'm fine either way. Wink face, heart emoji. PS, comment, compliment, or question. So that's it. I break it down for my coaches. I'm like, here's the anatomy of my invite, and then I just say, put yours together and send it to me, and have it reek of your personality.
Yeah, that is awesome. Do you guys like that? Y'all like that? That was really unique. That's not the normal whatever most say. Do you even tell them their profile is great, or are you just like, I was creeping on your profile?
No, because I feel like people say that so much too. Just like when people ask, are you a health and fitness coach too? Or are you on a health and fitness journey too? I'm like, oh, snooze. Like, that's so overused now. So we just have to find our own little flair and stick to it, I think.
That is awesome. Okay. Any questions? Y'all have questions?
I have one.
Okay,
Hey, Kelly.
Kelly.
So after that, so let's say you send that message out to somebody and they're like, sure, I guess I'd check it out. Or, you know, they give you some type of indication that they're somewhat interested. Do you go right to sending your application, or what's your next step?
Yeah, I have a script for that too. I basically say, like, I'll read it to you guys. Hey you, yay, I'm going to send you a brief application to learn more about you and see if this would be a good fit. Excited to chat. And then I send them the application, and I make sure to add in a comment, compliment, or question. I usually like to ask a question like, oh my God, I saw you're from Arizona. What part of Arizona do you live in? That's usually my go-to, you know, just something on their page that I can pick out that I can relate to, or that's unique, or that I want to know more about. Like, I just keep it genuine. Like, what do I want to talk about with them? What do I want to know about them? I just ask them about that, or about their job or something like that. So keep it super simple. Yeah, I'm all about positioning myself, and Keith Callahan talks a lot about that, how you're like posturing yourself, you're positioning yourself as that the one in charge, like the leader, the mentor. And it's kind of like if with any other job, like you walk into a store and you want to get a job there, they give you an application to fill out, and then you fill it out, and then they let you know if they want to set up an interview. You know, so I think of it as that, like there's nothing different. I had to really switch my mindset to I'm gifting them, not the other way around. Like they need to qualify themselves. They have to be good for this opportunity for me. And yeah, at the end of the day, like I'll get whoever signed up, but I'm not going to necessarily pour my heart and time into every single person that fills out the application. Maybe I won't get on the phone with them, but I'll send them the webinar and get them signed up. And maybe they'll just be a discount coach or a hobby coach, and that's cool too. So I'm just always like meeting people where they're at based off of what they indicate in that coach application. So you guys can check out my coach application. It's in my Instagram bio link too. My Instagram handle is Brooke_orchard.
I totally went to her application. I was like, how? So she spoke at Coach Camp. Christina puts on this big, huge event in Chicago like every February. And I've gone, and I usually go and speak. And this year it was like right when my grandpa's funeral was also in Chicago. So it was just like, I just can't do this back to back. Mm-hmm. But I got, if you guys, I'm pretty sure you guys have access to her speech because it's tied to our Instagram Academy and the Cultivating Leaders that we did with Christina a couple years ago. We did those academies and it's all in there. So I'm pretty sure you can find her speech in there. Under Coach Camp, because I found it and I was like, okay, hold on a second. How are you doing? Hold on. Back up. Because she like really breaks it down in the Coach Camp. And then I also have a recording that I'm trying so hard to get uploaded for whatever reason. It's a challenge over here of her speaking in Arizona on how she develops the leader. So for those of you who are like, hey, I need to figure that out, I have that as well once I get it uploaded, where she really breaks down, which is similar to what Keith does and Christina built. They all built in this way of developing leaders. I guess when you're developing leaders and you're looking at your numbers, do you ever think or have you experienced level 7, 8 actually become a 10? Because I know some of this is a growth journey, like the sleeping giants, where you actually have some people within your team, but they're just like, they need a personal development. They need to just really work through some stuff in their head and believe in themselves. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, and yeah, that's the sleeping giant concept is so true. You know, it is a development process. And a lot of the coaches who have stuck around with me and hit diamond and beyond are people who I grew up with, and they weren't people that I necessarily saw blowing this business up, you know? So that is very telling. Absolutely. So yeah, never say never.
And when I think what she also, what you mean by that is really go after your 10s, but also you just never know. Like, don't be afraid to go after the 10s that you see that you're just like, oh, she would be so good. Like, I just know it. Yeah. Those guys, oh man, it's like your chicken list. Like, you're like, oh, I don't really want them to say yes, but it's okay if they don't say yes, because they start turning around and watching you anyways, and either it's for them or it's not. Yeah. And then, okay, so tell us how you went through, you cried last year, you survived last year, you realized that you needed a morning routine, if you will. And what's super cool is we have this morning meltdown coming, which is going to be really awesome for people who struggle with that, because that's the purpose of the workout. Tell us, like, what books helped you really grow? I know you talked about Slight Edge. That book helped me too, by the way. If y'all haven't read The Slight Edge, that is such an awesome book. But what books helped you, like, really shift and be like, hey, I'm getting control of this? Like,
I love podcasts. Like, podcasts, reading for me was really hard last year. So I not only needed podcasts because of time and to like knock out a bunch of things at once, but I also needed to hear people's energy. Like, Ed Milet is one of my favorite podcasters. Oh my God. Grant Cardone, he fires me up. Like, Tony Robbins, like, those are my kind of guys. I need someone to like say, get over your shit, basically. I like that tough love empowerment. So yeah, anything like that just wakes me up and gets me over myself. I love. 10X Rule was good. Oh man, GoPro by Eric Worre. Leadership books. I wish I would have leaned into leadership books a long time ago, but I didn't start reading leadership books or doing leadership personal development until 5 months ago. That is so crazy to say. I think I assumed that as a Ruby personality, I was like a natural leader. And yes, like, we kind of are, but it was rough around the edges. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, for sure. I was always like a super tough love person, and I still am, but like, I missed the love piece. Like, I was so over here that I've been having to like be like, hey.
Yeah.
And that, I think it was part of me was like, I was hard on my own self. So yeah, those are good. That's awesome. Okay, guys, we're at 6:30 or so over here in Arizona. If you don't have questions, I'm going to let her get back to her mom life. But if anyone has anything they want to know, no, yes, no. Okay.
Hugs to all the mamas. You're amazing.
Keep
going. Yeah. So that's the secret.
Keep going. Consistency. All right, you guys. Thank you, Brooke, so much for doing this for us. I really appreciate it. And I will let everybody go. Have an awesome night, you guys. Bye.
Thanks.